Hello YouTube, my name is Raymond and today I'm going to show you how to paint a baseboard with next to carpet. So there's 4 easy steps. 1 is prep, 2 tape, 3 paint, 4 peel. So step 1 is the prep. So what you generally do is you make sure to wash the area clean with a rag. For any of the scuffs, you want to use a white magic eraser and try to get those excess scuffs off. So that's the first step. The second step, and probably the most important one, is going to be the taping. What we're going to do is we're going to tape under on top of the carpet under the baseboard using regular blue painter's tape. This here is 1.5 inches wide. You can try to use wider tape, but I'll show you why you may not in a second. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll, pull about a 4 to 5 foot piece of tape. The longer you make it, the harder it's going to be to kind of control the tape. So about 4 feet, we're going to cut it off. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, for this one, we're going to come right to the edge. We're going to kind of put the tape right about halfway. When we do that, we don't want to press it down on the baseboard because we want to tuck it down as much as we can. Okay. If you need to move the tape a little bit, it's fine. Okay. So when you push it down as much as you can, the next step is this part of the tape. We're going to try to put it underneath the baseboard. So we're going to use a metal putty knife. You could probably use a plastic one as well. This one's a 6-inch putty knife, and it's a flexible one. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a lot. What we're going to do is we're going to use this putty knife. We're going to have the putty knife help us push it in. I'm right-handed, so the putty knife is in my right hand. I'm going to use my left hand to tuck the tape in, and then the putty will guide the tape underneath the baseboard like so. Okay. When you put the tape down, try to curl the carpet underneath the tape. So here we go. So first step is see, right now it's kind of sticking, so we're going to try to push it down again. Okay. And now we get the putty knife. Okay. Now we get the putty knife. We're going to push it down and try to push the putty knife underneath the baseboard. As you can see, it's kind of underneath the baseboard now. The corners are going to be pretty hard, but once you're done, you can see the putty knife is underneath the baseboard. As you move through, try to go slow, because if you go too fast, you'll cut the tape. And if you cut the tape, then the paint could get on the tape. So even if you have to redo, see, I see a little bit of the carpet still there, so I'm going to move it back. So now I'm going to go back again, do a curl, push down, and use the putty knife. Try your best. It may be where the carpet is too taut, or too tight to the baseboard, and you're just gonna have to try your best at this point. Okay, so again, we're gonna keep going. So this one's pretty good because the carpet's nice and fluffy, so it's easy to push down and put underneath the baseboard. Okay, so once we're done there, we're just gonna grab one more. You could use a 3-inch piece of tape and do it in one foul swoop, but because I'm using a 1.5-inch tape, I'm going to just get another strip, and I'm just going to tape it right over it. So if you need, if you tape it too short, just go ahead and grab another piece and add it. The third step is now we're ready for painting. So all you do is just grab a little bit of trim paint in your paint cup. Make sure to get a good brush. In my other video, I talk about painting prep and tips using a good brush. So this is when we're going to need it the most. So we're just going to dip a little bit into, just a little bit. I've seen in some videos where they glob a lot of paint on the baseboard. In my opinion, that's probably not the best idea. Go ahead and use a little bit at first. You can always add more paint later. So we'll use a little paint, and so I have a headlamp here. So I would use the headlamp to give me some more light because, you know, the baseboard is probably white. My paint will be white. So that's why I'll use a headlamp. But for the purpose of this video and the lighting, I'm not going to use it. So as we move down, we're going to start at the top, and we are going to paint the top. With a good paintbrush, you will not need to use painter's tape on the top. So if you use a bad paintbrush, you're probably gonna have to paint the top of the baseboard as well. But you see, I'm just using just a little bit of paint. When you get better, you can use more. This particular brush has a 45-degree cut in it. Just a little slight cut. So the longer bristle, I'm going to use that on the end. The shorter bristle, I'm going to bring it to me. I'm right-handed, so my right hand is against the wall. You don't want to go this way. So as I'm moving with my right hand against the wall, I'm going to start crawling or moving backwards as I'm painting. Keep the angle of the brush as close as you can across the baseboard. Don't do a sweeping motion because the bristles will start bunching up. So now that we're moving in a smooth, even angle across the whole baseboard, I'm keeping that same angle all the way across. I'm not sweeping. And then as I'm adding more paint to the top of the baseboard, okay. So once I do the top, I'm going to do the bottom next. With the bottom, all you want to do is put a little bit of paint at the very end of the longest side of the bristle, because you're going to want to use that long side to go inside the valley where the tape and the baseboard meet. Here again, do not use a lot of paint, because the more you glob down there, the better your odds of getting paint on the carpet. You know, the carpet, when it fluffs back up, it'll cover a lot of the pieces where you may not be able to paint. So don't try to get, you don't have to be too perfect as far as the bottom of the baseboard is concerned. So after you do a couple of small, you can do small strokes. Once you do that, then I'll come back with some more paint and do the middle of the baseboard. So top, bottom, and now the middle. Once you are good, once you're good and you made your little brush strokes, go ahead and come back one last time with a long, smooth brush stroke. Now what we're going to do is we're going to let the paint dry. You'll see a little bit of paint kind of glob in between the tape and the baseboard right here. The goal is to pretend like the tape is not here and to not put paint on the tape. So we don't cause a long line, because if you do, when you take the tape up, it's going to be very hard to do so. And the fourth and the last step is the peel. So we've let it dry for 12 hours or so, and now we're going to start removing the tape. So as we remove the tape, if you can start on one of the ends and slowly, you can peel this first layer off. And then as you do the second layer that's under the baseboard, just be very careful. Use like one hand to kind of guide the tape out under the baseboard. And if you have any trouble, you can kind of start on the other side, or you can tear it. And you can kind of see you just kind of tuck it back out. And here we go. Yeah. So try to go slow here, because you may run into spots where the paint may be sticking to the tape and the baseboard, kind of in this area right here. So as we move to this part over here, if the paint is still a little wet, try to use the putty knife and kind of separate the paint first, so the paint does not tear up into the baseboard. Okay, and then kind of the same thing, just kind of peel it off. And then you get a nice, clean painted baseboard. Okay. So I hope this helped a little bit about how to paint a baseboard near carpet. Please feel free to like the video and subscribe to my channel to see future DIY videos. And if I can do it, you can do it too.